what I'd like to do is to delve into our tools that we can use. They're there for your use to accomplish your estate planning. My daughter comes into town one weekend and I say, come on down, let's go to the bank. I want to put your name on my savings account. I want to add your name to my account. And that's very common. So the name on the account becomes Paul D. Spillers or Sarah Catherine Spillers. Very common. I die. Who gets the $10,000? No. The $10,000 is my money. My daughter did not put one penny into that account, so it's not her money. She has no ownership interest in it. Now, during my lifetime, she could go in and withdraw because the account says or, and she could withdraw every penny. Doesn't mean she owns the money. If she were to withdraw it, it's not her money, it's my money. If I find out about it, I could say, Sarah Catherine, I want you to put that money back. The bank is protected because the bank says, we let this money go to Sarah Catherine because she was on the account. And they're absolutely right. She has the right to withdraw, but she does not have a right of ownership. When we're talking about these accounts, bank accounts that say and or, that doesn't change ownership. Whoever the owner was stays the owner. Putting somebody else's name on that account does not change ownership. Even if it's your wife and you die first? Well, if it's my wife, it's probably community property, all right? Now, if it's community property, she has an ownership interest, right? She owns half. And typically, let's say I die without a will. She owns her half, and she has a usufruct over the other half if I have kids. So in a situation where you have a spouse that's on that account, the rules are a little bit different because the spouse has an ownership interest. Okay, well, if it's an or account, if it's like A or B, then either A or B can withdraw. If it says and A and B, you got to have both. And if one of those die, you don't have both. You've got to go to court probably and do a succession proceeding to get it all straight. But if it's an or, the surviving spouse can continue signing on that account. Got to get in mind, there's a difference between ownership and the power to withdraw. Let's say I have this account, my name is on it, and I bring my daughter into the bank one day and the banker says, Mr. Spillers, I think we have this new account called POD. It's a brand new account that we just started using in our bank. And if you will add your daughter's name to the account, in the event of your death, your daughter can come in and withdraw the entire account. And that's probably it's cheaper than a will. You don't have to see a lawyer. You don't have to pay a lawyer fee. Just put your daughter's name on this account, and it's called a POD account, payable on death. Upon my death, my designated beneficiary gets the money. All right? Now, I die. My daughter goes to the bank and says, Mr. Banker, you've got this POD account my dad set up, my name's on it, give me the money. I have every right to withdraw whatever's in that account. And that's absolutely correct. The bank is protected if the bank gives the money to the designated beneficiary. Whoever the payable on death beneficiary is, gets the money. And the law is very clear. The bank is protected if it gives every penny to the designated POD beneficiary. All right. So I die, my daughter goes in, cleans out the account, and takes off. All right, now I've got a son that finds out about it and says, that doesn't seem quite right. That my sister got all the money out of that account. Surely I had some ownership interest in it. And he would be right. He would be entitled to some ownership in those funds. Okay? But guess what? The horse is out of the barn. The money's left the bank. It's who knows where. What can my son do? Does he have any claim against the bank? His argument is, Mr. Baker, you let all this money go and, I have an interest in it and you shouldn't have done it. The banker turns around and says, we got this legislation here that says we did exactly what the law required. It's a POD account, so you're out of luck, son. And they'll be absolutely right. The son cannot recover anything against the bank because it's a POD account. My son would have to try to locate his sister and recover from her. That's a POD account. A TOD, a transfer on death, is almost exactly the same thing. The law dealing with these accounts are designed to protect banks. It does not, and if they've really there's a cloud on these accounts as to whether or not they transfer ownership. There's one court case that says they do transfer ownership, and there's several court cases that say, no, they don't transfer ownership. So right now we don't know what the answer is. But we do know one thing for sure. Banks are protected. If it's a POD account or a TOD, the banks are protected. We're not sure the outcome on ownership. So be careful. If somebody suggests that you sign a POD or a TOD, be careful because you may not be getting what you think you're getting.